Okay, we are now in part 5. But this trial balance will be greatly appreciated if you already familiarize yourself with part 3, journalizing entries, and part 4, the posting of entries to the ledger. So, again, we will define first what is a trial balance. Trial balance is the list of all accounts with the respective debit or credit balances. Main function is to verify the equality of debits and credits. So how to prepare the trial balance? First, list the account titles in numerical order. Second, obtain the account balances of each account from the ledger. Third, add the debit and credit. Fourth, compare the totals. So here, in this particular example, uh, we transfer the ending balance of cash from the ledger to the trial balance. That is 248,000 pesos. So we transfer to the debit column. Why debit column? Debit column because cash is an asset account. Next ledger is the accounts receivable. Account number is 120. The ending balance, as you can see from the ledger, is 10,000 pesos because of the collection of 25,000 pesos. So you move it to the trial balance under the debit column. Why debit? Debit because the normal balance of accounts receivable is debit. Next ledger is computer supplies. Computer supplies, here the balance is 25,000 pesos. So account number is 130. From the ledger, you just transfer it to the trial balance, amounting to 25,000 pesos. So which side is still in the debit? Why debit? Because computer supplies has a debit normal balance. Next ledger, computer equipment, account number 140. So you can see the ledger, the balance is 145,000 pesos. So we just transfer it to the trial balance under the debit column. Why debit? Because computer equipment is an asset. Asset normal balance is debit. Next ledger is accounts payable. Account number 210. So the beginning balance of accounts payable is 25,000 pesos. But we made a partial payment on July 19, 17,000. So balance is 8,000. But there's another liability on July 27, 8,000. So the balance will now become 16,000 pesos. But this time, take note, it will be under the credit side. Why credit? Because the normal balance of liability is credit. Next ledger is Robredo Capital. So account number is 310. The account balance is still the same, 350,000 pesos. So we transfer it from the ledger to the trial balance under the credit column. Why credit? Because it is the normal balance of capital account. Next ledger is Robredo Drawings. Account number is 320. So as you can see, the transaction occurred on July 31 with journal reference of J-09. So amount is 20,000 pesos. So we just transfer it from the ledger to the trial balance under the debit column. Why debit column? Because drawings account normal balance is debit. Okay. Next ledger is service revenue. Service revenue, as you can see, we recorded a revenue on July 11, 88,000. But there's another recording on July 17 for the interactive website design amounting to 35,000 pesos. So you just add it to the 88,000, it will now become 123,000 pesos. Just transfer this amount from the ledger to the trial balance under the credit column. Why credit? Because it is the normal balance of revenue. Next account, salaries expense, account number 520. So date is July 31. This is the payment to Philip D. So we just transfer the account balance 15,000 pesos under the debit column. Why debit column? Because it is the normal balance of expense account. Okay. So next ledger is utilities expense. This is the payment for the Meralco and internet bills on July 16. So as you can see, the journal reference J-05, page 5 of the journal, it's 18,000 pesos. So no adjustment, so you just copy the 18,000 pesos from the ledger to the trial balance. Under what column? Under the debit column. Why debit? Because the normal balance of expense is debit. Next ledger is advertising expense, account number 530. So the transaction occurred on July 27, J-10, journal reference page number 10, amounting to 8,000 pesos. So no adjustment, that's why it's the balance to be transferred from the ledger to the trial balance, 8,000 pesos. Under what column? Still under debit column. Why debit? Because expense account has a normal balance of debit. Okay. Next slide is under the summary or getting the totals of the debit and credit columns for all of the accounts, for all of the account balances from the ledger. So this just simply means you just add all the accounts with the same debit balances. You just add or sum those up. Same goes with the credit side, you just add. So as you can see, the debit side, you will just add the balances from the cash, 248,000, accounts receivable 10,000, computer supplies 25,000, computer equipment 145,000 pesos, Robredo drawings 20,000 pesos, and of course the expense accounts, the salaries, utilities, and advertising. The total of the debit column, the total of the assets, drawings, and expense accounts is 489,000 pesos. Same goes with the credit side, accounts payable, capital, and revenue. Accounts payable 16,000, Robredo capital 350,000 pesos, service revenue 123,000 pesos. So 489,000 pesos, the same, equal. So there are some errors not detected by the trial balance. What are those? Those are the omission to record or post a transaction, the wrong account name used or wrong cost center used. And then the third one is the double entry or double recording or double posting. Okay, thank you. Please like and subscribe.